To the Cafe Kubal Studios, hanging out with you where sports meets life. Thanks for your patience this morning as we got ready, set here to go in the studios. So happy to be here with you every single Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. You know, Wake Up Call's been OTR, Wake Up Call on the road. The hashtag we use is hashtag Wake Up Call OTR. So you know we've been out there doing our thing. We were out in the great state of Florida, the second home of the show, and for the first few days of this week, you had specials that were there for you, Tortora and Elford, featuring Isaac Elford, myself, Dan Tortora, giving you our weekly Syracuse football content. And that was on Monday. On Tuesday, you got to go beyond sports to something I called determined for greatness. Instead of destined for greatness, to put our stamp on it. Not just destined, like, oh, we just lay here and it happens, but we're determined for greatness, that we're taking God's hand and going after greatness and working toward it ourselves, and that would being Big Lou Alexander, who played for Syracuse football and the NFL, and what he's doing. So he joined me, and we got to share that conversation together, and I love that. Go back and watch it for some positivity. And on Wednesday, we had a dolphin dive special double dose, and we were able to have not one but two representatives of the women's basketball team for Lemoyne College in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership. And starting things off with Mary Grimes, the head coach, and then having Coach Joe Dobro and Joanna Dabrowski joining us, assistant coach, on the broadcast as well. So go and check those out. They have new intros, new everything, new music. So really, really cool stuff. We've upped the production value and done some other things to here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, because that's what we're all about, is making it bigger and better. And then yesterday, we were on site, on location, live at Cafe Kubal on 401 South Salina Street with the letter winner of distinction, Rob Conrad, the last to wear number 44, and the new sponsor of the running back room that is going to be built for this new extension and expansion of Syracuse football and the athletic facilities at Syracuse University. Rob Conrad joining the show and talking about the Legend of 44 room, his memories of Dan Marino and Donovan McNabb, playing with them both, being on the NFL field, being on the Syracuse field, being inside the dome, and so much more. You don't want to miss a second of our very special Legend of 44 sit down at Cafe Kubal with Rob Conrad. So go back and watch that as well. And those are on everything that I mentioned that we've aired today or this week. All the specials are on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt and on facebook.com/wakeupcalldt. So go check them out. So it's good to be back in the studios hanging out with you where sports meets that thing called life, because like I said, we've been all over the place. So it's good to be back here. Good to be in the studios. I didn't even think about the fact. I was like, wow, I haven't been in the studio all week, which has been crazy. So it's great to be back here, and so much fun to be hanging out where sports meets life on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So good to be back in the Cafe Kubal studios. We're always with Cafe Kubal on the road and at home, but to physically be back in my home studio, right? The place where all that magic happens all year round. It's so good to be back here in the studio. And we thank you wherever you are on Facebook.com, YouTube.com, and MixLR.com, all /WakeUpCallDT for tuning in. We thank you for tuning in on Facebook.com /LiveNowDT. And we also thank you for being with us on the homepage of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora's website, which is WakeUpCallDT.com. That's WakeUpCallDT.com. You should bookmark it, save it, keep it, subscribe to it. It's all free. And so make sure that you do that today. Get on to all of our wonderful channels. You can find us on Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, Twitter at CallDT, and Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. So we're very, very hard to miss. And that's very, very much on purpose. So make sure that you connect with us if you haven't. If you have, thank you so much. If you haven't yet, then make sure you do that today. We'd love to have you on all of our social medias, as well as all of our channels. So subscribe, follow, do everything you got to do. And thank you to everyone that's done that. Much appreciation and much love, as always, to the wonderful people that support Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. I really honestly can't thank you enough for being here with us. So with that being said, we have a grand slate of wonderful, wonderful content coming up for you today. On Fridays we have the trio of signature segments. Starting off inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. By the way, they are hiring 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. They are hiring for full-time and part-time positions Monday through Friday. They are also hiring students after school. So right when you get out of school, for those few hours, they're hiring as well. So you can call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Or you can go online and you can search on Indeed.com, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, and send them some love. So make sure you do that. What did Greg say? Under promise, over deliver. Production looking better than ever, DT. Thank you, sir. Yeah, and I'm all about that. Under promising and over delivering. So, jet setting to London this weekend. I am not. I know the Jaguars are going to be playing the Denver Broncos, and I got a lot, right? In that Nate Hackett's a good friend, the head coach of the Denver Broncos, and the Jacksonville Jaguars are, my team since they came into the NFL in 1995 and covered them for 12 years on site, on location for the most part of the last 12 years. So, these are two teams that mean a heck of a lot to me, but I will not be in London. I made a promise to myself that if I was going to go overseas and see one of these games, that I would make a plan for Spain and Italy. And I have not made that plan yet, because what I would do is I would go see the game and then I would go see my family and go on a trip through Spain and Italy. So because that's not set up, that's why I'm not going. I can't imagine myself going overseas, which I've never done, and going to London and then not going to see my family. So it hasn't happened yet. It will happen someday, by the grace of God, and we'll get it done. So I do want to go over. So to answer your question, Greg, I do plan on doing it. It just needs to be connected to all the other stuff, and I have not set all that up yet, but I'm looking forward to it. A lot of storylines in this game. Yeah, there's a lot of things going on with Jacksonville and Denver, and and this is a tough one, right? Because you got one of your good buddies on one side, and then you have this team of relationships that you've been building over a long period of time. And I love the Jaguars organization, and the wake my butt up early and watch it, and have some fun with it. I hope y'all are going to watch the game too. Make sure you set your lineups. I know this week, because we had a unique week, there was no fantasy football show. I am going to do one. I just didn't do it on Wednesday, but I am going to do it. So I hope that y'all will navigate with me. I know we get a ton of people that watch the show and listen to the show and write into the show, and it's crazy. I mean, we've gone well over our time just because of all of you amazing people all over the world that are sending me fantasy football questions, which is what that segment is all about. So thank you for keeping me busy and writing stuff to me and keeping my head working in all these trades and discussions and whatnot. So we are going to do a fantasy football show, probably going to do it today, and definitely just stay close to our social media for that, because I won't leave you hanging. I know we didn't get to the Thursday night football show, but or Thursday night football to give you the predictions and whatnot, but we will get into everything for the rest of the week. So make sure you're close with us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora so we can share that with you. So inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. The annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt, starts off every Friday broadcast, and that'll be coming to you in just a second. Lead, learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver. That's the acronym. I don't need to go any farther than that, but we do. Under promise, over deliver. Learn, evolve, ad-lib, deliver. Lead has a topic every week that we focus on learning with, evolving from, ad-libbing, and delivering on. So today, this week's topic for today, we're going to have be open to new opportunity as the topic. So we'll be discussing that, presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, and there's a lot of layers to that. And then we'll get into my top dog of the week announcement. I'll be telling you who I believe is the top dog, my top dog for this week, and that's proudly presented by K9 Camp Dog Daycare and K9 Kampground Dog Boarding. And we're going to round out the show with Derrell Smith today, Relly Crocker. So I'm excited to have Derrell Smith on the show. He's been on the broadcast multiple times. He is a chef and entrepreneur, and he just so happens to have played for Syracuse football and in the NFL at linebacker. So Derrell Smith will be joining me in just a little bit on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. I had a good question come in from Greg. What do you say here? Would you continue your Jaguars fandom if they permanently moved operations? They're not moving to London. They're not moving to London. And, you know, I know this, and I just talked about this, that this comes up so much. And they're not moving, in my opinion, because if you, like me, go down to Jacksonville and you go to these games, and you've been to these games for over a decade, you can see all of the blood, sweat, and tears that they've put in to Jacksonville, Florida. And you don't put in all that money, all that time, all that effort, all that work to do everything that they've done to build with the stadium. And now they're adding an entirely, they're like expanding with a practice facility and doing more over there. They have Daly's Place, which is an amphitheater, and it was an outdoor amphitheater, and now they, you know, encased it inside. They just keep spending money in Jacksonville all around the stadium, and they keep improving and expanding and giving the Jaguars more facilities, bigger facilities, expansive facilities. So if you're down there like me, you would kind of laugh at the whole "are the Jaguars going to move" statement that's been made over and over and over again, because why would Shad Khan continue to just put all of this money into expanding, raising, producing, evolving, you know, everything that they're doing in Jacksonville? I mean, literally, what it was and what it is different now, and the Jaguars continue to build on their facilities, so I don't see them going anywhere. With that being said, though, let's hop into the annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. It is what happy tastes like, and it is time to get into the annoying moment of the week, which I'm very, very excited to do, as always, because I got something to talk about. So let's get into the annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt, right here where sports meets life.
Dan Tortora proudly brings you...
Is that for real? Are you kidding me?
The annoying moment of the week.
I really, honestly, I don't know how to respond to this.
Presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street. It's what happy tastes like.
You have to be that crazy. I guess so.
The annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. It is what happy tastes like, and I am happy to be here with you, hanging out where sports meets that thing called life. My annoying moment of the week for this week, folks. I mean, there's always a bunch of places I could go, but I was in the airport, and I was obviously traveling this week. So my annoying moment of the week is going to have to do with the airport, okay? Now, first and foremost, when you're sitting, this is what I think you really find out who in this world has manners and who doesn't simply by flying a plane. Simply by getting on a plane. Who's blowing by, who's pushing by you, who's trying to get around you, who's, the plane lands and somebody in row 20 runs all the way up to row 5 and is breathing down your neck and you can't even get out to get your bag. Versus the person that says, no, you go ahead. I have to get my bag. Or, would you like me to get your bag for you? Would you like me to help you out? Would you like this? Would you like that? It amazes me that there's just people that have absolutely, positively no manners whatsoever. And it's ridiculous. So, for me, I would say my annoying moment of the week has to do with people when you're walking through, getting ready to get on a plane, and you just see the people that genuinely don't care about anything else going on but what's going on in their life at that whatever specific time, right? The people that walk in front of you, that they don't look where they're going. You have to be kind. You have to be compassionate. Well, Dan, I don't have to be anything. I don't have to do anything. I could do whatever I want, Dan. Yeah, that's true. But remember that whatever you think, however you live your life, that can come back to you. Well, I can do whatever I want. Okay, well then anybody else in this world, on this planet, can do whatever they want to you. If that's how you feel. If you could do whatever you want to them, then they could do whatever they want to you. Do you like that? Well, no, Dan, that leaves things too open-ended. Of course it does. So, remember, it is a very simple rule. It is called the golden rule. But it's a rule that people seemingly forget about over and over and over again. Do unto others as you would have done unto you. Do unto others as you would have done unto you. Wow, what a statement that really isn't that hard to follow. Yet, some people struggle with it daily. Being at the airport, sitting in your seat, and you got people that are like, the armrest thing, that's a problem, right? There's one tiny little armrest, and you're thinking, whose armrest is this? Is it this guy's? Is it my armrest? Do we share? Do we look at each other before we go for it? And then you wonder, like, is this person going to be really mean? So when I go for this armrest, are they going to be really ridiculous to me? Or are they going to be kind about it? And I always try to, like, give, right? I'm like, oh, I'll share this little tiny speck of an armrest with you. But you're in a small space, right? And everybody's got to get on the plane. And everybody's trying to get somewhere. So nobody's more important than the other person, no matter what anybody says. There's nobody more important than the other person. So, you got to get on your flight. Everybody's got this. Well, I got on a plane, and I had a unique way of getting home. I had to, like, change airlines, and I had to do a bunch of different things. So I'm on my way home, and I had to change my airline. When I changed my airline, you got to pay for it, this, that, and whatever. So I pay for it, and they told me that, when you're putting in your name that you had to put in a suffix, and you had to put all this stuff in. Well, I don't have a suffix. So, I'm not like junior or the third or whatever, So I'm trying to figure out how to do this, and then I accidentally put in Mr. because I'm thinking prefix, right? So I put in Mr., and when I put in Mr., it wrote my name as Daniel Tortora Mr. So I try to get myself all set up and all ready, right, on the plane, or I try to get myself all set up the night before when I'm changing my ticket, and I had to call, and I had to go through the phone number with I was flying on American, and I had to go through with them and get everything logged in and signed up and ready to go. And she's like, well, you're under Tortora Mr. and not Tortora. And I was like, is this going to affect this? Which it didn't, thank God. But I was finally able to log in, because when I bought my ticket, it said, whoops, we're having a technical issue. You may have bought your ticket, so look out for the email. Or there was a chance that my ticket didn't go through. And so I did get an email that my ticket went through. I checked on my bank account, and it said that it had charged my account, but I couldn't log in and I couldn't check in, so I couldn't get my boarding pass. So I had to stay up and stay on the phone, and I'm thinking to myself, I fly a lot, so I'm used to, figuring these things out and asking questions and whatnot. But what about people who don't fly that much? What about people who have no idea what they're doing? You know what I mean? So in that case, how do they handle it? How do they deal with it? I always think about other people. How does somebody who's 90 years old, how do they know? How does someone who's never flown before know, right? They buy their ticket, they think the ticket's good, and they got nothing to worry about because they don't know that they have to call. So, to me, it's when you fly all the time and you know what you're doing and you have your wits about you, thank God, you can make those decisions and get yourself ready. But when you're in these situations where people have never flown and they don't know what they're doing and they don't know how to get, all this stuff figured out, and they don't know which questions to ask, then what do you do there? And I'm always looking out for everybody, right? Because I can answer, I've flown so much, I probably answer a bunch of questions, but they might not know to call. They might not know, okay, if the boarding pass isn't printing out, well, I'll just go and it'll work out. Well, that's not always the case. So I got it all figured out, and you get on the plane, and, most people are nice, right? Most people are nice, and I had 2 very nice flights. But it just made me think about the annoying moment of the week where people think they're more important than other people, and their bag is more important, and them getting off the plane is more important. But also, in my case, I have the legs to do it, and I'm used to knowing, like, okay, maybe I got to move, maybe I got to go. So I landed in one terminal and had to go to another one. I landed in B, I had to go to D, and there was only a half an hour, 35 minutes in between my flights. Now, I didn't check that because when you go and you look for a ticket, right, you're just looking to get home. So we don't all check. Again, some people who fly a lot, some people who don't fly at all. You don't always check everything. So I didn't see, wow, my connector's 35 minutes and they board a plane 30 minutes before. So I have 5 minutes to get from the D terminal to the B terminal. That's crazy. So I was able to do it. But I was hoping that everybody was. What if somebody's in a wheelchair? What if somebody had to wait for an assist? What if somebody dropped something? What if somebody, I don't know, can't walk as fast? What if somebody has trouble getting by? What if somebody has a cane? What if somebody has a walker? What if, I was thinking about all these different, what if they have a baby? What if they have a stroller? What if the baby's acting up? What do they do? Because I was able to go, right? I had my book bag, I had my carry-on, and I'm like, all right, this is where I go, I'm trucking. But to other people, I mean, there were people that made the flight that were like hyperventilating because they had to run through everything. And it's also like, are you in shape or are you not in shape? What if you're not in shape? Then how do you get over to it? You know what I mean? So I feel for everybody trying to do that. I don't think, if they're going to give you 35 minutes to get from one plane to another, and that plane takes off a couple minutes later, whatever, if they're going to give you that small of amount of time to get from one plane to another, then that gate better be right next to it. If you land at B9, it better be B10. Because I understand you're trying to get flights in and out, and you're trying to do all this stuff, but 35 minutes is, to a lot of people, not enough time, especially if you have to walk half a mile or a mile to get to this other piece. And if you're in Atlanta, forget about it, because their airport's like 37 miles long. So, my annoying moment of the week is just people in the airport caring about other people, which I saw a lot of people do, so I commend them for that. It's not always the case, and it's a rarity for me, thank God. But there was a guy next to me, I think I talked about it on the show, where the last time I flew, I wasn't letting this guy out, right? There were people that needed to get out, then I needed to get out. I was the first one in the lane. So I'm letting these people out, I'm getting out, and this guy is literally pushing his head to the point where I put my arm down. So if he came up like this, I was putting him in a headlock, essentially, to be like, no one taught you as a child to be good, or maybe they did, and shame on you, but I'm going to hold you, 40-whatever-year-old man, in a headlock to let these people out, to teach you that you're not the most important person on the planet. Okay? Relax. He asked me to get his bag, and I handed it to him, and he held it. And I looked right at him, and I said, you're welcome. So there are those people. There's the people that, the plane lands, and they run from lane 37, and they're right in first class, and you're like, how the hell did this person get their bags to get all the way up here this fast? So there's those people, which are more of a rarity, and I pray they continue to be, if any at all. I pray that just stops, and we don't have to see any of those knuckleheads. But then beyond that, having that short amount of time to go back and forth is not really fair to people, right? Because you say, oh, well, they missed their flight. They must have not been paying attention. Or maybe they were running, a half marathon to get from one lane to the other, or from one terminal to the other. So it's not always easy to travel. And also, JFK and LaGuardia, if there's one drop of rain, just a drip, if there's a thought of a drip of rain, they delay all their flights. I don't understand any of that. LaGuardia gets rain and they're like, we can't fly. It's just not. I'm like, have you never seen rain before? We're in the North Country, okay? We're up here in central and upstate New York. It snows here. There was frost outside this morning. There's frost outside my studio today. So, hello, like, you live in the North. It rains. And how do you not take off and figure out the rain? I have to drive in the rain. I've driven in what looks like a monsoon before when I was down in Florida. Looked like I drove into the Atlantic Ocean. So that always throws me off. LaGuardia, well, why are they delayed? Because there's rain, and they're delayed 2 hours. Insanity. But see, that's the problem with airlines and the problem with airports. They've condensed some airports or gotten rid of them and then thrown more flights in other places. So you're making the overpopulated airports more populated, and you're taking away from other places. If you gave more flights to Syracuse and you took some of those away from LaGuardia and from JFK. Now you have other flights coming to Syracuse. You're making more money for Syracuse and more money for the community. You're building more jobs in Syracuse, maybe bringing more airlines or expanding the airlines or the size of the planes that are coming to Syracuse, and you're alleviating some of the stress and the trouble from a city that's already stressed and overpopulated. I know it makes way too much sense, so they'll never do it, but it's reality. If you brought more flights to Syracuse, there would be more ease and less issue than the LaGuardia and the JFK. Nobody wants to fly to LaGuardia and JFK. Nobody sits in at their couch looking up flights going, how can I have a connecting flight to JFK and LaGuardia? How badly I want to go to this overpopulated, dense place that has 3 drops of rain and delays for 2.5 hours. How can I get myself to New York City to smell that smell and be around a massive ant farm, right? I think New York City is a wonderful place for a lot of different reasons, and I love to visit temporarily. But to live there and to go there on purpose is insanity. And New York City, it's just a different bird. It's a different to be more mean, and I've never understood that my entire life. That like you're almost allowed to be a jerkhole if you live in New York City. Like why? Why do you have like if you're a total jerk and you're like, well, I live in New York City, people are like, okay, makes sense. Why does that make sense? There's all these, there's these stereotypes that like everybody in Texas has a shotgun and they're always eating a donut with the shotgun on their porch all day long waiting to shoot something. That's not true. And in New York City, it shouldn't be true that if you're just a jerk, that's okay, they live in New York. You know what I mean? And I've driven through New York and I've been hit by a drunk driver in New York, and that was a horrible situation. And by the grace of God, I got through it with wonderful people and just a really gracious and beautiful God that cares about me and goes the extra mile times infinity. But I know what it's like to be in New York City, and I don't mind visiting. But there's so much going on. And I will never understand why LaGuardia can't deal with rain. It doesn't make sense to me. It makes no sense to me. Imagine if Syracuse didn't bring an entire plane into the air during the winter. Oh my God, there's snow. And nobody moved. So there was no flights for 5 months. Like, seriously? We got to figure it out. You de-ice the plane. Do you feel good when there's ice up in the air? No. Do you feel good when there's a snowstorm? No. Does everybody 100% trust de-icing a plane? Probably not. However, we fly, right? We figure it out. We fly. People fly into the frickin' Arctic Circle. They fly to Antarctica. They fly to Alaska. They fly out of Syracuse. We figure it out. So LaGuardia, figure out how to deal with your drizzle, and let's move on. And with that being said, we're going to move on to lead, learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver right after this fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. This has been the Annoying Moment of the Week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street. It is what happy tastes like, and you need to get yourself over to Carvel DeWitt today, the home of what I consider the only ice cream cake, and all your favorites waiting for you all throughout the year at Carvel DeWitt, who do it differently, do it better, and whatever you expect from Carvel DeWitt ups the ante because they have creative, amazing, just Picassos when it comes to their cakes, and they will try anything once, and they'll do all types of really amazing things. So you definitely don't want to miss out on Carvel and not on Carvel DeWitt. Go there, literally, just to open up the case and see the cakes they made today. You might not think you need a cake. You might not think there's anything to celebrate right now, but you need some. And guess what? Halloween's coming up, and they have the little Halloween cupcake cakes, and then they have the Halloween cakes themselves. Bring it in there, right? I'm staying home, Dan. The family and I don't have any plans. We're not going to do anything. There's no Halloween party to go to. Okay, so get some scary movies there. Grab a Halloween ice cream cake from Carvel. Stay at home and celebrate. Why not? It's your life, YOLO. Let's do it. 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. And now that I'm talking about it, I'm probably going to have to go get myself a little ice cream cake from Carvel DeWitt because why the heck not? They look awesome. They taste even better. And Halloween's coming up. So you got an excuse to bring the cake on home. Not that you need one, but, why not? Halloween, a little spooky cake. Have a little fun, have some friends over, have the neighbors over, or just chill in the house. and get your Carvel ice cream cake to get into the Halloween spirit. We'll talk lead right after this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, where sports meets life.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafekubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Kubal needs. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, hanging out with you where sports meets that thing called life. Always happy to be here with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and always looking forward to the conversations we get to have here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from inside of these Cafe Kubal studios. And what a great place to have a conversation. Whether you're on a date or you're having a business meeting, getting together with your mom, your dad, your family, your friends, going out and just grabbing something for yourself and getting a little bit of work done. Cafe Kubal is that place for everybody, and they're located all throughout central and upstate New York on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse, as well as on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, and on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in their drive-thru location. Go out to Cafe Kubal today, try the new menu, and remember, pumpkin spice and everything nice is right there at Cafe Kubal. Look at that. Pumpkin spiced everything. That sign is here for a reason, and it's directly connected to Cafe Kubal in my world. Also inside these studios, I'm always smelling really good here. This is the Autumn Incuse candle, and we have an all-new series with Witty Wicks that airs monthly called Aubrey and DT Get Witty. The owner, Aubrey, of the wonderful Witty Wicks on 190 Township Boulevard in Camillus, New York, and wittywicks.com, joins me to talk about a product with a little bit of comedy and have some fun with you on our social media. Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. So we just featured in our inaugural episode of Aubrey and DT Get Witty the Autumn Incuse candle, and it's sitting here in my studio, and it smells so absolutely wonderful. It's got all those autumn flavors, a little bit of orange in there for the Syracuse orange. So we have the Autumn Incuse candle burning bright here in the studio. If you haven't been to Witty Wicks, get out to Witty Wicks. Show them some love. They're all over the studio. They're more than their candles as well. If they were just the Witty Wicks candles, the place is incredible. But they also have the 315 Home Sweet Home signs. They have plenty of different signs, right? They have for Camillus, for for Syracuse and Baldwinsville and so on and so forth. They're also doing these really cool things where they're making earrings for the schools. So earrings for CNS, Marcellus, for West Jenny, for Liverpool. So all colored to our high schools, which are really, really cool. And then Q's Home Sweet Home and the 315 pillow. All throughout our studio, we have things from Witty Wicks, and that is because I'm very purposeful when I deck out my studio, and there are so many things to deck out your studio, your home, your office, your kid's room, your room, and Witty Wicks has them. So these candles you can bring into any room, and of course the pillows and the signs and whatnot, you can deck out your studio, your office, your house, wherever you may be with Witty Wicks, and they're also great gifts getting into the holiday season. So head out to Witty Wicks today, and you're like, oh, Dan, shamelessly promoting? No, I buy the stuff. Every time I go in, I buy something. Like I bought the Upstate hat, I bought the Upstate long sleeve shirt that has the hoodie on it. Those are my travel clothes. I go out there and I get my candles and I burn them bright and they're gone. Sometimes it feels like, so quick because I burn them all the time because I just love the smell, and it helps my studio to just kind of be uplifted. You walk into a room and it smells a certain type of way. Witty Wicks candles are totally different than other places, and that's why they're worth it. They're worth the drive, and they're worth getting out there. So make sure you do that today, and much appreciation to everybody that does. Let's see what Greg had to say. Love the Giants trade yesterday with the Chiefs, but got such a kick that the Giants got a third and a sixth for a broken down player, and the Jags got a sixth that could be a fifth for a healthy starting running back. Yeah, well, it's because Jacksonville made a really, really stupid trade. Very stupid trade. Okay, and so that could have probably been my annoying moment of the week. I shared my thoughts on social media, and Jets fans love the trade. I say it says something to you when 100% of the Jets fans that respond to you love the trade. Because obviously, the Jaguars made a stupid trade, right? They traded a house for a tent. They traded a Carvel ice cream cake for a stale donut. And the thing is, they traded James Robinson for a draft pick, and the Jaguars typically don't keep their draft picks. Over the years, they don't keep them. They don't have DJ Shark anymore. They don't have Laviska Shenault. They don't have Dede Westbrook. All these wide receivers they've drafted over the last few years, they're not on the team anymore. So it's like, why even trade for draft picks when you're going to draft somebody you don't even want? It's crazy. It's crazy, and it's stupid, and it's ridiculous, and I don't like it. But we'll get into it. We'll talk about it for sure. I do want to, so the trade that Greg is talking about here, Kadarius Toney, you speak about a guy that you got on your team that you don't want on your team, right? It's, for goodness sakes, we started off the season with allegedly the Giants having Kadarius Toney on the trade block, and Kadarius Toney's, friggin' rookie. I mean, guy's been in the league for 15 seconds, right? You're like, right after being a rookie, you're going to get rid of him? So the Kansas City Chiefs got wide receiver Kadarius Toney from the Giants for 2 2023 draft picks yesterday. Now, heading to the Giants are a third-round conditional pick, which Kansas City received when the Chicago Bears hired Ryan Poles as their general manager, and a 2023 sixth-round selection. Now, obviously, Kadarius Toney in any trade has to pass a physical, so Brian Daboll said it was we just thought it was best for the team with Kadarius wish Kadarius going to the Kansas City Chiefs. Interesting move here, since the Giants don't really have a lot of wide receivers to write home about that are consistent, especially in fantasy. And now Kadarius Toney is going to a team where Pat Mahomes gets to throw to him. Now we get to maybe see what Kadarius Toney is going to turn into, right? Because how often was he used with the Giants? Not that much. So we'll definitely get into these things in our fantasy football special, but I wanted to make a note of it since it was brought up. And yeah, it's a great trade. I mean, I think it's a good trade, right? Because the Giants, they get draft picks, and, unlike Jacksonville, maybe they'll keep them. So they get draft picks, and at the same time, they get somebody who can help them out immediately. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, the James Robinson trade's ridiculous. I'm so happy that I got to talk with James Robinson, because since he got drafted, I was like, I got to interview him. And thank God I did in the second home game of the season against the Houston Texans, because if I didn't, he would have been gone. Now, he was there on Sunday. Remember, he did carry the ball once for -2 yards. It was negated by a holding penalty. But he was there. He was in the locker room, standing a few clicks in front of me. So he was there on Sunday, and now he isn't. So, what did Greg say? Tony has essentially played only 6 productive quarters of football. Great deal for the Giants. Yeah, well, I mean, we're going to get to see what Kadarius Toney's going to do here. So we'll see. And the Giants do need to go and get a wide receiver because, again, they don't really have any household names, right? There's nobody that's consistently like, yeah, that's the guy. So they're going to have to figure that out. But let's get into Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-lib, and Deliver. So we'll jump right into that, where sports meets that thing called life. Lead is the segment that comes to you second every single Friday. We're here with Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-lib, and Deliver. So always happy to have Lead, proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay. Big ups and big thanks to them for all that they do. So much appreciate everything from the fantastic team at Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, led by the incredible Jimmer Sikowski, the owner-operator of both, and one of my best friends on this planet. Today's topic: be open to new opportunity. Wow, this one hit home, as many of these topics do that I talk about them. They come from the heart. So be open to new opportunity. It's the thing that I've read. I don't know if you guys heard it, but I went on a date this week. And the date was connected to a team of people that I used to work with. So I'm very happy that I got to go out on a date, because I haven't been out on one in a while. So I did that. I went out on a date. Because the person that I dated previously never really wanted to go out on a date, wanted to stay home, and I'm all about that, stay home, relax, and this, that, whatever, but it's also very fishy to me when a person doesn't bring you out in public, right? So, but that's neither here nor there because it's over, and it's done. And I'm cool with that. And so be open to new opportunities. I haven't been on a date in a while, and I got asked. I said, hey, Dan, would you do this? And I said, yeah, you know what? Why not? Why not? YOLO. And here's the funny thing. So going out on this date, there's 4 people that get together. None of us know each other. We're not supposed to know each other. And so I get set up to go on this date. And the person that I'm supposed to go on the date with was already set up to be a part of it. So I'm getting on the plane, and I get told right before I'm supposed to take off to come home this past Wednesday. I get a text message. Hey, this person can't come. They're not going to be able to make it. They're down with flu-like symptoms and yada yada yada. And I was like, all right, well, so what do we do here? Now I was sitting here thinking to myself, I wish I didn't buy a ticket to come home. I wish I didn't rush to come home. I wish I didn't wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning to have to drive an hour to the airport to come home. I would have spent more time in Florida. Would have spent more time with my family. Heck, I would have slept an extra hour. Or I would have stayed on the airline I was on without switching this airline and having to pay for this ticket and do all this stuff. So I would have done something else, right? But I still want to get home because Lily didn't feel good earlier on in the week, and I'm her dad, and I don't want her to ever not feel good, especially if I'm not there. So I love my little honey, and so I want to make sure she was okay. So I was coming home on Wednesday no matter what. But long story short, be open to new opportunities. So this is what happened. So I'm on the plane. I get a message. Long story short, she can't make it. Do you want to see her next week? Or do you want to see her another time? This is really funny because the person that I went on a date with is listening right now. That's very ironic because I didn't tell her to do it. Wow. So shout out to Kim. What's going on, lady? So let's be open to new opportunity, which is really, really funny. And also very ironic that this is the first time that Kim's listening because I did not tell her that I was going to talk about this today. So she's crazy. This is just nuts. So this is funny about how God works. So be open to new opportunities. So I'm on the plane, and I get a message saying, hey, this person's not going to make it, yada, yada, yada. And with things that I've dealt with in the past of people flaking out and whatnot, I kind of was just like, par for the course, whatever. And I was like, you know what? It's fine. I'm going to do what I got to do. I'm coming home. I'm going to relax, whatever. And so I get a message like, hey, do you want to wait until next week to go on this date, or do you want to go tonight? And I was actually told, do you want to go with the other guy and duke it out for the one girl? And I was like, that's insane. With as crazy as dating is, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to fight with a guy to do that's ridiculous. So I was like, whatever, do what you got to do. I got to get on the plane. And while I'm on the plane, I was like, we got to take off. So I shut my phone off. And I tried to go to sleep because I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I was exhausted. I'm one of those people that can sleep standing up because I work a lot and I can sleep on a plane. So I don't know how I can do it. I'm not going to question God. I'm very appreciative that I can sleep on planes. So I'm on the plane. I'm sitting in the middle. And it was funny because we were talking yesterday about like how people don't sit in the middle seat. I didn't have a choice. I'm not paying an extra $13 to sit on the end or sit with it. I'm getting on the plane. I already had to spend the money. I'll sit in the middle, whatever. And nobody bothered me. The girl on the one side of me, on the left side of me, she was very nice because I was running across these terminals to go back to the annoying moment of the week today. I had to run from the D terminal to the B terminal and get there in a short amount of time when they were like just finishing up boarding, because it makes a lot of sense to have a plane land and give you 35 minutes to cross an airport. So I get there and I was just like thinking Home Alone in my head. I was thinking, I'm Macaulay Culkin. I'm running through this airport. I don't even know if I'm on the right plane. So I said to the girl on my left, I was like, this is going to Syracuse, right? She's like, yeah. And I think she felt bad for me. So she like handed me my seatbelt. Like, are you having a day? And I was like, yeah, not really. It's just, I'm tired. And I love Charlotte. And I flew into Charlotte from Jacksonville. And I wanted to look around Charlotte. They have Bojangles there. I don't know if you know Bojangles food, but it's wonderful. And some really good sweet tea. So I'm thinking, like, I'll get some Bojangles. I'm a Charlotte FC fan for soccer, so I was like, maybe I'll grab some Charlotte FC stuff. I had no time to do anything. It's just kind of a hi and a bye. And so I'm on the plane, and I say a prayer to God. And some of you know this that heard the story this week, but I said, God, guide me toward what you want. Guard me from what you don't. Because I don't always make the best decision, right? Human beings are flawed. So I'm not always great at making the right decision, right? You know, we've all dated crazy people, and my comedy, a lot of it has to do with that. So here I am on the plane. I said, guide me and guard me. And the topic today is be open to new opportunity. So when I opened my eyes after my prayer and I looked to my right, what's sitting on this lady's book? She was reading a John Grisham book. And what did the book say? The book said, I want you to be open to new opportunity. It was a quote. And it was like two people speaking to each other within the book. And it's the first thing I saw. It said, I want you to be open to new opportunity. And I thought that was funny. And I said, all right, God, note taken. And we landed. And I get a message. Hey, we found somebody for you. This is who she is. Here's a picture. I didn't even have her name. And I had to go, I called and I was like, okay, so like what's going on? But she thinks that I looked up her last name and knew how to spell it. And I promise to God I didn't. I'm just Italian and I like the challenge. So we go on this date and I didn't know what to expect. And it was wonderful, you know? And so I would tell people to be open to new opportunity because you never know what you're going to find in life. You really don't. And, you know, something that was a situation that I was like, do I really want to go on this? Is really this the right person for me? And, you know, I want to have a family. I want to have kids. It's not going to work in this. And God's kind of challenged me with that. Like when you meet somebody, you don't just go because that's the person in front of you. You go because it's something that's good for you. And so the date wasn't going to be good for me, and I got kind of taken out of it, and I appreciated that. And then, you know, here comes somebody new, and it just clicked. And then she said really nice things about me on the radio that I didn't anticipate, and it was really sweet. And I do want to let her know, since she's listening right now, that, and I did not know she was listening, which, again, plays into the whole be open to new opportunity. She's a Packers fan. And I was talking to my buddy Johnny about her last night, and I forgot that his wife is a massive Packers fan. So I said to him, I was like, hey, if you want to listen back to us both kind of talking about the date. So he went back and listened, and he was like, okay, all right. She's saying nice things about my guy. Good stuff. And then he goes, what? And then he called me immediately. He said, she's a Packers fan. He said, I can't deal with another one. I can't do it. And then he said, maybe for you. And so I totally forgot about Aaron being a Packers fan, and Johnny is a Lions fan, and my godson, his son Noah, is a Bears fan, and I'm trying with everything inside of me to get Ariana, his daughter and youngest, to be a Vikings fan, so he's completely outnumbered in his house. But I also know karma's a you-know-what, so if I do that, then my children are going to be Duke fans, and I'm going to lose my mind. But yeah, so Johnny and I were talking, and he was like, really? So I said, did you tell Aaron that she's a Packers fan? And he was like, yeah. And I said, what did Aaron say? And he said, Aaron said, she's cute, and I said, of course Aaron likes her, because now there's that outnumbering of Packers fans in that situation. So Kim, please know you have other Packer fans in the area. You've already terrorized Johnny as a Lions fan, and he already feels outnumbered. So be open to new opportunity, even if they're Packer fans. And at least she doesn't like Tom Brady. That's a good thing. But yeah, I mean, I can honestly tell you that in Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver, our faith-based show and segment, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay bringing you Lead, it's all about positivity. And finding new opportunity is the topic of this week. And it's the topic because it's the first thing I saw on that book. I want you to be open to new opportunities. And I was. And it turned into a 4-hour conversation, which will hopefully turn into something even better than that. So it's exciting when you give things a shot. And I hope that Kim knows that date cost me almost $300. So to come all the way back on that flight. So I was going to jokingly tell her she wasn't a cheap date, and I'm telling her now over the air if she's listening. So all jokes aside, I did have a really nice time, and you never know what life is going to bring to you, and you never know how it's going to bring it. So be open to new opportunities, folks, because life can provide some really incredible things if you're open to God doing his thing. Why not, right? So with that being said, we're going to take a step aside for a fast break. We're going to come back with the top dog of the week, where I get to, every single week, announce someone or an organization that I get to celebrate as our top dog, a spotlight on someone who's truly special, or people, a group, or an organization, a business, a team that I think is really incredible. And Greg said, Monday night, Bills versus Packers. Yeah, I do know that, brother. Monday night. Finally, a good Monday night game. Who in their right mind was giving us the horrible, horrible Monday night game of Patriots-Bears? You know what I did on Monday night? I extended my birthday. On Monday night. And I went to Disney. That's what I did on Monday night. While some of you tortured souls were making yourselves watch the Bears and the Patriots, I refused. And I went to Disney. I was at Magic Kingdom on Monday night. Let's see what Kim had to say. Go Pack Go is what she said. Yeah. Go Pack Go. All right. You know what? I don't have a problem with the Packers. I have no problem with the Packers. And I never have. My grandfather, and I talked to Kim about my grandfather, Pop Cavino, my G-Mama's husband. I spoke about him a lot, and he is a Packers fan. So up in heaven, he's all about those Packers. And I never have had an issue with the Packers. I cheered for them when they had Desmond Howard and Brett Favre back in the day playing in the Super Bowl. I still think getting rid of Desmond Howard was one of the dumbest things that they've done. And he went to the Lions, which is also crazy because of the NFC North and whatnot. But I have no issue with the Packers. Johnny has a big issue with the Packers, because Erin not only is a Packers fan, but she plays in our fantasy football league with Johnny. And Erin has not only won a championship, but she won our Lombardi Trophy. And I have him here in the studio because thanks be to God, I've won a bunch of I've won 3 championships in the last few years. So our Lombardi Trophy is what you get when you win the championship, and she won, and she put this trophy right in front of the it's to the right of the TV in their house. So you walk in to Johnny and Erin's house, and you're looking at the flat screen, and right to the right of the TV is her trophy. And he said, he goes, she put it right there because she wants me to have to look at it every day of my life, that I can't not see it when I'm watching television. So I have a bunch of them, and one of them, this is my most recent one that's here in the studio, from 2020, the COVID year. And here's the irony. I had Kenny Galladay of the Lions on my team, so the name of my team was Home for the Galladays. So Johnny, this is the irony. Detroit doesn't know what it's like to win one of these sweet championship trophies. However, the team that I named after their wide receiver won a trophy. So my last trophy has something connected to the Detroit Lions, so there's all goodness with that. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers, Greg made a note here that he said, but you love Aaron Rodgers, and obviously he's being facetious. I've been a fan of Aaron Rodgers for a really long time, right? But that changed when he became this like massive drama queen. And I don't know what's going on with Aaron Rodgers right now, but calling out your teammates publicly, bro, that doesn't work. It doesn't work. Okay, me as a business owner, as a CEO and president of Dan Tortora Broadcast Media, if I went out today and I called out all the people that work with me in broadcasting and my interns and whatnot and publicly shamed them, why would they want to come and work for me the next day? They wouldn't. And whether they said something or not, what would make somebody want to be a part of an organization that doesn't respect them and publicly says something bad about them? So I'm a firm believer Aaron Rodgers will never win another Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers because of how much money he asked for, because he cost half the team. If you want to be a wide receiver on the team, you're going to be shamed publicly by Aaron Rodgers, and you're not going to get paid. I thought Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers were a package deal. There's something to be said about Aaron Rodgers signing $50 million a year and then 3 days later Davante Adams leaving for Vegas, who is not a team that you would imagine is a strong playoff team. So I've been a big fan of Aaron. I've never had a reason not to be, but he's given me those Mariah Carey vibes right now, where it's never his fault, right? When he gets caught lip syncing, it's not his fault for lip syncing. It's because they didn't give him the right tea and they didn't have the right practice beforehand. And he only can eat green M&Ms and they have to be set on a table in a certain place in his dressing room. Stop. So he just needs to figure it out. I give my best to it. So now I'm awaiting to see a message from Kim because she liked everything I said. And now I'm picking on Aaron Rodgers publicly on worldwide radio and video. So I'll see her response to that. But thank you for all of you that are open to new opportunity. Aaron, be open to new opportunity. You have new receivers. I know they're not all healthy, but you have Randall Cobb. You have Allen Lazard. You have Christian Watson. You have talent. So hopefully it gets healthy, but I would suggest to maybe not publicly shame the people that are supposed to catch the balls that you throw to them. If he starts attacking his offensive lineman, I told you what I do as an offensive lineman. Because Tom Brady, right, there's the notion that like he goes out there and he yells at the guys when he gets hit. If I was an offensive lineman and you publicly said something nasty about me and you're my quarterback, they would yell hike and I would step to the side, let you get blown up. And then a couple plays later, I'd step to the side and let you get blown up. And when you're down on the ground, I would go over there the second time. I put my hand out, I'd pick you up. I'd look you in the eye and say, are you done now? Do you need us? Because if you don't, we can do this all day. But if you need us and you admit that you need us, maybe I'll start blocking for you. But there's no way in heck that I'm going to let you talk to me the way that you do and then sit here and block for you some kind of way. I'm not going to be the one that throws a punch. I'm Italian. I know that. You never go to the person's house. You send somebody. So I'm going to let them blow you up. I'm going to let that defensive end get at you. I'm not going to throw the blow. But at the end of the day, you better know that if you want to throw this ball, you need me to block for you. You need me to catch for you. You need me to be on this field. And Tom Brady is not the type of person that Aaron Rodgers needs to desire to be. And that drama and that talking about your teammates, you don't talk about your teammates publicly. You pull them aside, you talk to them in the locker room. You don't talk to your teammates or at your teammates through the media. And I'm saying that as somebody who has a media badge. You don't do that. Because people in the media, 99.9999999 forever, are not like me. They want that story. They want you to attack each other. They want the team to be destroyed from the inside out because that's a story to them. I don't want to see that happen because above all things, you're a human being and every human being deserves respect. So, oh, Greg, you like that? I'm Italian, I send somebody. Dude, that's the truth, okay? I'm Italian and Hispanic. We both know to send people, right? If you're Hispanic, that body's going to Mexico and no one's ever going to see it again. It doesn't matter if you're from Mexico or not. If you are Hispanic, that body will find its way over the border and no one will ask about it again. If you're Italian, you got a phone call. Most of us, Kim has this, I know she does. You make a phone call, right? There's that one person in your family, that sketchy cousin, that like if you needed something done, you call them up and say, hey, this person, hang up the phone. They don't call you back. You don't talk to them about it. You don't know anything. And it gets handled, right? There's something to be said about being Italian where you don't go yourself, you send somebody, you know? Consider being Italian like working for the post office. You need that you know you need to get the mail out. But there's a mail carrier that takes it for you. So there you go. You're not going to look at the mail the same now. You're going to be like, what's in the mail? A finger? But it's true. Everybody's got a stereotype. Being Italian, we have an incredible stereotype. What's our stereotype? We're good cooks. We're good dancers. We're romantic. What's the other stereotype? Don't mess with an Italian. Why? Because stuff happens. So I like our stereotype. Not everybody likes their stereotype, and I understand that. But you don't mess with Italians. That's the truth. You send somebody. So I'm going to take a step aside for a fast break before I get myself in any more trouble. And I'm going to take a break here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. But yes, be open to new opportunity to get back to that. You never know what's going to happen. And sometimes you get to sit across from somebody that you didn't think you were going to sit across from. And it can turn into sitting across from them a bunch of other times. Maybe turning into something special. So be open to new opportunity, people. Because if you're not living, you're doing the other thing. And who wants to do that? We'll take a step aside inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios where sports meets that thing called life. When we come back, we will honor our top dog of the week. And we still have Derrell Smith coming up in just a little bit to talk about food, football, and so much more. Our chef, entrepreneur, and former Syracuse and NFL linebacker joins us in just a few minutes on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora.
Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Kampground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Kampground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Kampground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9Kampground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and Kampground spelled with a K.com. K9Kampground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Kampground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout central and upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. As a patient, what do we want? To be cared for, to be listened to, and to have someone walk us through the process on our path to victory. Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics does all of those things beautifully, with Dr. Mark Petropoli leading the team on 791 West Genesee Street in Skinny Atlas, New York, located minutes from beautiful Skinny Atlas Lake. Whatever your injury may be from head to toe, preventative care, rehab, physical therapy, laser therapy, and surgery are all available at Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, where they care about us, they listen to us, and they understand that everyone's path to victory is a little bit different. Let them help you on yours by calling 315-685-7544 to make your appointment today. That's 315-685-7544. And find out more information at victorysportsmedicine.com.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, hanging out with you where sports meets life. Cafe Kubal on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street, where we were yesterday doing a live on-site, on-location broadcast with Rob Conrad, the last to wear number 44 at Syracuse for the football team, the Legend of 44. All those locations in Syracuse, New York, including the one we were at yesterday on Salina Street, and of course on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, and on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in North Syracuse for their drive-thru. So make sure you head out to Cafe Kubal today. You're supporting local. Their spices, their coffees, their syrups, everything made here. And thanks to Cafe Kubal for the incredible work that they have done to become a business that continues to grow and expand and be dedicated to Central and Upstate New York, to our economy, to our community, to the people that are living here. Thank you to Matt Goddard and the team from Cafe Kubal for all that you do. With that being said, continuing on inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', it's time to bring you the top dog of the week. And you know that I need Lily's help to do this, so take it away, Lily. Top dog of the week, proudly presented by Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding. My top dog of the week is Merritt Brady, Catherine Brady, Owen Brady, the Brady family, the Brady bunch, as I like to call them. And they're being honored as our top dogs of the week because that family just opened for the first time ever their Chick-fil-A franchise, Chick-fil-A Watertown. And I was up there last night, or yesterday morning, I should say, bright and early. It felt like night because I was driving in the dark. Woke up at 4:15, drove an hour up to Watertown, and was on site, on location for the unveiling and the opening of Chick-fil-A Watertown. If you want to see what it was like to be a part of it, I think we did a fantastic array. We had so many great people, and we got to really showcase it, I think, in a really special way. So make sure you check it out on our social media. Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. Go and look us up and see all the videos. We got to talk with the first indoor guest ever in the history of Chick-fil-A Watertown, Michael. He's a pastor. You can check out that video of my conversation with him. You can also check out the video we had with Mindy, who was the first drive-through guest ever at Chick-fil-A Watertown. And Mindy is also a part of the Army. So thank you, Mindy, for your service. You can check out those videos. You can see the video that I took of everybody standing outside, yelling, excited about coming in, cheering and whatnot. You can see but you can hear the cowbells and see everybody coming in to be the first customers ever for Chick-fil-A Watertown. And of course, a bunch of pictures that we took. A lot of great stuff to capture the moment, and I thought that we captured it well, and I'd love for you to check it out. I am honoring as my top dogs of the week, Merritt, Catherine, and Owen Brady, the family that got to bring us the first ever Chick-fil-A in Watertown, up there in the North Country, and right by Fort Drum, to serve our incredible military and to serve the entire community. There were people that wrote into me saying that they used to drive into Syracuse to Chick-fil-A Cicero or Chick-fil-A Clay, would drive an hour just to go to Chick-fil-A. So it's nice to know that there's other people like me that will drive as far as they have to. Because what I used to have to do is wait until I traveled, wait until I went to Charlotte, wait until I went to North or South Carolina in general, or down to Florida to eat at Chick-fil-A. Well, now I don't have to do that because I have Chick-fil-A Cicero, Chick-fil-A Clay, and Chick-fil-A Watertown. So you know that I love my Chick-fil-A. Big fan of Jimmer Sikowski and Betty and their entire family, Sam, as well as Jack and Hunter. I love the Sikowski family. They've become my family, and Jimmer is one of my best friends, and he is fighting ALS, and I pray every single day that God brings him a miracle, that he can, if anybody can beat it, he can. Anybody fighting ALS, that they beat this disease, and if that is not the case, that they're able to live with it. Tim Green has lived with it for a long time, and that they live peacefully and positively, because we need Tim Green here. And Jimmer Sikowski, a fantastic human being, one of my closest friends, and somebody that is always there by my side. I'm going to see him today, and I love him so much. So as I always pray, God, if you don't take ALS from him, please help him to be able to live with it, live successfully with it, and continue to change lives, because having Jimmer on this planet is better than not, and we love him so much. So to continue in that Chick-fil-A family, I got to meet Merritt Brady a few months ago, and I just loved it. I mean, you kind of know, I know when I'm sitting with somebody, you know, in that first interaction, is there something here, right, of value and something that I want to continue with. And Merritt is just, he had that, our faith, and just the way we talk about things and care about people and what he's done, and then getting to meet his wife Catherine and getting to hear him talk about Catherine, and then getting to see his emotion of having his son Owen and wanting to be a father so bad and not knowing if it was going to happen, and going through everything they went through, and his journey to find God through this, and not being close to God prior to, but then saying, I know that I would not have my son without God. And so it's easy for me to honor Merritt and Catherine and Owen today, because Chick-fil-A Watertown is theirs. It's their baby. It's their new family member. And I'm so grateful that they have partnered with me before they opened, that I've gotten to tell their story of building, that I've gotten to be there, that I've gotten to give you a sit down with Merritt and talk about who he is, who is this owner-operator, and to get to know him, that the commercial that you hear on the broadcast is a very heartfelt message from Merritt, and that we've really gotten to do a lot of great work together. They've only been open for a day, yet we've spent months really getting to know each other and putting this together. So I honor my friends, and I'm so happy with the people that are just out there working their tails off, whether I know you or I don't. It just so happens to be that I get to call Merritt a friend, and I'm happy for him in business and personally. I'm so grateful that they let me be there yesterday morning. I'm so thankful I got to meet Catherine's mother, and she's such a sweetheart. And so, you know, to Catherine's family and to Merritt's family and their combined family, I'm thankful and grateful that you allowed me to be up there. I didn't think twice about waking up at 4:15 in the morning. I wanted to be there, and keeping my word is important. Kim knows that, and so and Merritt does too. So thank you to the Chick-fil-A Watertown family. I honor you as the top dogs of the week because this is your story to tell. This is your moment. You're open, you're here, and now you get to serve Chick-fil-A to a place that never had it, and you get to do it your way and put your own unique approach on it. So thank you, Merritt. I know you're busy. I know you got a lot going on, but I value the time we get to spend together, and I hope we always carve out some time. So thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Merritt. Thank you, Owen. Thank you to the entire family. Thank you to everybody working at Chick-fil-A Watertown. And you're going to get to hear my pleasure a lot up in the North Country. So God bless to you all. No stress, and do your best as always. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. We'll come back with Derrell Smith right after this, talking food, football, and positivity overall, live right after this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, inside of the Cafe Kubal studios where sports meets that thing called life. Thank you so much for being here with us, hanging out on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and you're going to hear a message from Merritt Brady, our top dog of the week, during this fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora as we come back with Derrell Smith.
Cafe Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafekubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Kubal needs. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
This is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating. Find them at 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and all the time online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, you can order all throughout the country at maandpaspopcorn.com. And remember to get your tins, which have in-store half-price refills forever. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, available to you for fundraising and all of your events by calling 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
Witty Wicks Candles and Gift Shop, Township 5, Camillus, where you will find handcrafted all-natural soy wax candles over 60 cents to freshen up your home. We carry a wide range of locally made items, Syracuse, Syracuse Salt, and Chocolate Pizza Company, to name a few. Let our knowledgeable staff help choose unique gifts and keepsakes for any occasion. Gifts for family and friends, and maybe a little something for yourself. Witty Wicks Candles and Gift Shop, Township 5, Camillus.
Yeah, it's incredible.
This is a special message from Merritt Brady, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Watertown on 1290 Arsenal Street in Watertown, New York.
Chick-fil-A for me has always been about the people. I think it starts with the strength and leadership of the Cathy family. It's just amazing to see a family-run business reach the altitude that they have. Second mile service is something that we embodied at my previous business, and the ability to make people feel like they're the only person at your establishment, that you are there to serve them that day and looking for those extra ways to make them happy, to anticipate what they need next is what makes me tick. And I'm going to have so many opportunities at Chick-fil-A to do that. It's one of my favorite things to eat in the world. My favorite application question or interview question when I'm interviewing is when I get to, have you ever eaten at Chick-fil-A? And a smile hits both their ears. They can't even answer the question for a second. And when I see that, it's like, man, that's going to be a great hire. They already get it. They already feel it. They already know that we're different. The Chick-fil-A experience, it's a real thing. And then, of course, just our generosity and community involvement and making a positive impact in the lives of our team members, our guests, and the community in general, I think is really the secret sauce.
Chick-fil-A Watertown on 1290 Arsenal Street in Watertown, New York. Coming to you fall 2022.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios where sports meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And I am very excited to be able to round out today's broadcast with our live conversation with Derrell Smith. Derrell comes to us as a chef and entrepreneur who just so happens to also have played for Syracuse and the NFL at the linebacker position. Derrell is somebody that I got to cover when he was here at Syracuse. Feels like a million years ago because here he was a football player and now he has, gone into this new chapter of his life as a chef and entrepreneur. Amazeballs, 99 Eats, all these things we've gotten to talk about over the years. Being at Bed Bath & Beyond in the New York City area. Now he's out in L.A. He has done, and we were talking off the air about it, so if you heard me say it's incredible in the studio, we were talking about just everything that he's been doing, and I'm so very proud of Derrell and so thankful that he got up early this morning on the West Coast to hang out with us. So let's bring him in. Derrell, how you doing today?
I'm good, man. How you doing? Thank you for that introduction.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I'm so happy to have you here because, we were talking years and years ago and, talking about football. And then, here we are a few years ago and when I was in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center doing the ACC tournament and you're out there doing your thing at Bed Bath & Beyond. And I was just hearing your story. And for those who don't know, how did this transition come about for people that knew you Syracuse, knew you NFL, knew you as a football player? How did this world just transition that you started to get these opportunities to go into places and cook and get to do these, kind of like kitchen pieces and show people different things that evolved into your YouTube channel and all this? I would love for you to share this road that you've had because it's really, really incredible and I'm super happy for you.
Absolutely. Well, right after Syracuse, I went to Tampa Bay and then I wound up in Houston in my second year in the NFL. And then I injured my neck in practice and returned to Syracuse that next day to finish up. I had maybe 3 credits for my master's degree in advertising. And so when I got back to Syracuse, one day I came home from class and just had a bunch of ingredients in my refrigerator and in my cabinet for meatballs. And so I made these meatballs and immediately called my best friend, like, man, you got to come over here. We got a winner. And I remember him trying them and me trying them and saying, like, this is the best sauce I've ever eaten. And I told him on that day, like, yo, I'm going to sell this one day. And that was 2013. Fast forward, I moved to New York City, and I'm working in advertising as a producer. And what I would do is I would bring food to my team. So they would stay late sometimes because we had deliverables due. And my boss said, you should take these meatballs and enter this competition. And so I did, and I won. And after winning the meatball competition, I just started to hustle. Like I formed the LLC. I started putting my website together, trying to figure out what our offerings would be. And coincidentally, I changed companies around that same time and was let go from that job in April of 2017. And By then, I had the LLC. We had done a semester in Smorgasburg, which is a huge outdoor food market in Brooklyn. We had success there, and I decided to take over the company full time. And from there, I got to deal with Bed Bath Beyond, where I became their resident chef. Doing that, we would film in front of a live studio audience, but the food that I was making, I also had to serve. And so it was almost like food theater, which helped me practice my delivery as like a host, but then it also helped me practice my food skills and my own camera skills at the same time, and I was paid for it, and I owned the content. And so I would put that on the YouTube channel, and Tastemade reached out. Tastemade is the channel which my TV show is on now, and they are also who I've had a relationship with for like the last 4.5 years. And so we started that relationship, and meanwhile, I'm catering meatballs all around New York City. I did office caterings. We had a small stand in Barclays Center in 2019. And then I'm traveling back and forth from LA to New York, and I'm shooting content. That turned into deals where I was traveling to like Brazil, Toronto, presenting food in front of 3,000 people on stages. And then pandemic happens, and we shut down all food. And so once food was shut down, I stopped doing all of the catering, stopped doing Smorgasburg, and started to focus more on content and television. And by end of 2020, I moved to LA and started. And I didn't have a job, I didn't have a plan, I didn't know what I was going to do. I just knew that I needed to get out of Brooklyn. And so when I got here, literally a month later, Tastemade approached me and said, "Hey, let's start. We want to give you your own TV show." And from there, that's still happening. So Mad Good Food Season 3 ended earlier this year. I was recently a guest host on a show called Easy Big Battle, which premiered on Netflix 2 weeks ago, and that cracked top 10 in the U.S. in terms of popularity last week. And now, just hustling, man. I feel as though over the years, what I've been able to do is hustle. Like, it ain't that I'm a TV host. It's not that I'm a chef. It's not that I'm a football player. I'm just talented, and I know how to hustle, and I know my lane, and I know what I'm good at. And I've been able to maximize all opportunities that come in front of me. So that's basically how I got here in a nutshell.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing that story. We're here with Derrell Smith, chef and entrepreneur, and Syracuse and NFL linebacker alum. Derrell, that story of, just one thing leading to another, and amidst all of this, like you said, I got fired from this job. People look at situations and say, well, this relationship ended, or, this roommate moved out, or I got fired from this, or I had to move out of this, or I couldn't afford that. And they say, what am I going to do? But in a lot of cases, for people that are really successful in life, we need to have, a firing or a breakup or a jerk boss or something like that. I mean, I remember I left on my own. I left traditional radio to start my company at 26. And back then, people are like, why would you leave the radio? Why would you do that? Why would you walk away from this traditional radio? What are you going to do on the internet? It's not a real company. I had people, like, I probably could have sued for what they said publicly of like, this isn't a real company. He's stealing money. He's doing this and that. And I was like, what are you talking about? I built this company. I put the show out there. I did everything I said I was going to do. And with all due respect, I told a lot more truth in my company, 100% of it, than I did when I was working at the radio station, when they were like, lie, cheat, and steal, just get the money. And so when I left on purpose with 27 cents in my pocket and $103 in my bank account. And I was living with my grandmother, taking care of her after she had fallen in her 90s. So that was my life at the time. And it was like, well, how are we going to do this? I said, I don't know. We'll figure it out. So I told you off the air, I respect those stories, because getting fired or having a jerk boss or having somebody lie to you and not give you what they promised, I feel like every success story in life, everybody who's actually living their dreams, doing what they love and loving what they do, came from getting fired, getting lied to, or being in a situation that wasn't good. We all had to figure out our way through a tornado, and that's what I love about all these stories. is something bad to most people ended up being like our big break. And I feel like you can respect that.
Absolutely. I remember in football, we would always have this portion of practice called sudden change. And in sudden change moments, it's like everything's going well. Offense is firing on all cylinders. And then suddenly they throw an interception and defense has to run out on the field and it's like chaos. It might be like an important time in the game where you got to step up and you just got to hunker down and do your thing. And I would equate that to that. Like being in those situations where you've practiced, like for me, I've practiced being in situations like this, whether it was in football, whether it was in advertising, whether it was just in life. And so when I was let go from that job, it was just a sudden change moment that I was prepared for because I always practiced for it. And when it came, I didn't really see it as a problem because when you practice and you realize that if you stay calm and you breathe through it and you just clear your mind and start to hustle and focus, it becomes an opportunity versus an issue. And that's what it did. Like I saw it as an opportunity to live my dream. You know what I mean? Like to do what I want to do on my terms and to make money off it and make a living off of it. And that's what I did. So it was just a problem that I turned into an opportunity, similar to a sudden change moment that we practice all our lives.
Yeah.
So shout out to you too, man. Congratulations.
Well, and thank you. And you know, and that's the thing, you know, people say my cousin, he's like an older brother to me, Joey, shout out to Joe. And it's funny because you created these meatballs and called it Amaze Balls. And Joey's father, who's like another dad to me, my Uncle Joe, Papa Joe calls him Meatball 1 and me Meatball 2. And so it's just kind of funny to bring that into what you do. But Joey was saying to me last night, he's like, I respect, you know, he's like, I really, like, I admire that you follow your dreams. I don't know any other way. I mean, Derrell, you're going through this world one time and something inside of you, when you made those meatballs and you called your buddy over and you said, you got to try these. You know, I think we found a hit. I think we did it. You have to have that passion and that love. How do you know? Because I think people say that all the time, like, how do you know this segment's going to work? How do you know that, you know, this interview or going here or this partnership, like, how do you know? And I don't really know how to describe it other than the fact that I trust God and I trust myself. How did you know that these meatballs, how did you know that you know, being at Bed Bath & Beyond or entering this contest, what about your life? What do you feel? Is it a vibe? Is it a gut thing? What is it that has kind of just led you to be like, this is the ticket, that's the food, that's the ingredient, that's the recipe, like this is going to work? How have you gotten from point A to point B? What do you lean on? What do you trust in your process?
I think there's a few things. So I would say some of it is gut for sure. And then some of it is just like freedom, like the freedom to try things but to try it with some type of intention and strategy. And so in doing that, I feel as though if you invest time, energy, and brain power into an intention into an idea, and you ain't got nothing else to do, like this is our job. And so like we have the capacity to focus on it full time.
Yeah.
Like I think that then if you mix all of those things into the pot and the smoke comes up, like there's no way that you could fail because it's not really a failure. Like some things I try may not work out, but I always learn from it and I never mess up twice. And so for me, it's just like the freedom of trying different things and then steady practicing. And for me, it's like, I remember when I was in graduate school, I had a professor named Professor Sheehan, and he had told us about this, his method for investing when he was the CEO of this advertising agency. And he told us this 70-20-10 rule. And he said 70% of your time, money, energy should go into something that gives you 70% in return. And so if that's an investment strategy, it would be like Coca-Cola, Goldman Sachs, like brands that have been around, Disney, brands that have been around forever. Yeah. You know you're going to get X amount back from that. He said the next thing that you want to invest in is that 20%. And that's I mean, new and emerging. That's the things that's Tesla. That's the new and emerging thing where it's like, all right, this might be an opportunity that we should jump on early, but that don't necessarily mean I'm going to put all my chips into it. But what I will do is make sure that I watch it, invest in it, and I put a substantial and significant amount of time, energy, X into this thing. And then that last one, number 10, like that 10% is just wild and crazy things. Like the things that might be wild and crazy, but over time it might bring back a huge dividend. And so if you, like, in my life, I feel like when I heard that, I started to realize how I have practiced that in my life, and then also be more intentional about it, because all he was telling you to do is just constantly practice. Like you practice putting your time into things that's going to make you money, obviously, yeah. At the point when I first started the company, and that was my job. That was my full-time job. 70% of my time, energy, X went into my full-time job, and I got that in return. But then in the background, I was practicing my meatballs for 20% of the time, 10% of the time at one point before that. And once we started to move from that 10% to that 20%, and I started to give it more attention, when I was let go from my job, I took all of that time and effort that I put into the meatballs and just transitioned it to the 70%. And once I started to put those resources, time, all of those things into my full-time thing at the time, I just started to reshuffle my passions, my interests, the things that I'm interested in. And now it was like at one point TV was 20%, now it's 70%, and food is 20%. And since I'm always practicing, I'm always able to I'm able to push the throttle a little further up and then push it back when I need, and then replace it with something else, and always circulate that motion and that method to get what I want. And I think that has worked for me, and I feel like other people do it too. They just don't look at it that way. Yeah. But it's just constantly practicing things that you like to do, and when it's time, putting maximum effort and time and intention into it, and that's how you succeed.
Yeah, that coming from Derrell Smith here, chef entrepreneur, with everything that you've done, as well as at Syracuse and NFL linebacker alum here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. I could say that, when I was working at radio, I said I want to have my show. And when I first came in to ESPN 630, 1240, and 96.1 FM in Scranton, Pennsylvania, they said, hey, we need 70%, we need your time to be in sales and in selling these stations. So I'm like, okay, well, I want to do the show. And so I had like 1 hour, 1 day a week, and I had to set up and be ready for that. And I had to wait 6 months and keep asking. They finally let me do it. And then I pushed for it. And then I started to say, okay, like, what can I do with this? Who can I bring in? And then I started to get things made for my show. Got a hat, got the polo shirt, and started to do different things. And then said to myself, this is where I want to go with it. And I don't want to keep selling this stuff. And I could sell it, and I was successful selling it. But I said, I'll never forget the day that, I dressed up, had my suit on, and I had like this camel long, like, trench coat jacket on, and I looked in the mirror, and I was brushing my teeth, and I said, when are you going to be Dan Tortora again? Let me know. And it was after that where I said to myself, and I left, and it's like, why would you leave? You made good money, they respect you. Well, they appreciate you. They kept you on. You've seen a ton of people leave and get fired. You're still there. Obviously, you're doing something right. You got a nice place. You're right down the road from the school that you graduated from. You got friends in the area. One of your best friends lives a couple minutes away. Shout out to Ross. And so here I am in this situation, and I said, yeah, but you know what? It's not enough. And the irony is, I was living in Dunmore, Pennsylvania, and I said to myself, I really see things as messages. And Dunmore, I said, I feel like I'm not doing enough, and I'm living in a place saying Dunmore, like I wish I had done more. So I left, and I came back to Syracuse, and I fought to get on the radio, and I got on the ESPN here, and did that for a while, 1260 at the time, and I was doing that for a little bit, but I really wanted to go somewhere else, and I got an opportunity in Orlando. I just kept calling and kept calling for 3 months and got the job, went down there, worked at Disney, worked at ESPN, 1080 the team, and realized like, okay, I'm doing something, but I need to expand. I need to be an all-week show. I need that opportunity. And then I came back to Syracuse. I was promised something, and I did everything I was supposed to do, plus a million things more that I don't think they expected out of me. I didn't get paid for that stuff. And I remember I raised $30,000 in a year doing a weekend show for 4 hours. And my boss at the end of the year handed me a check for $3,100. And so in a year, I made $3,100. I could have gotten food stamps at the time. And I said to and they said, hey, you know how we said 15%? Well, now we're only going to give you 10%. So we're not going to promote you. We're not going to put you on a billboard. We're not going to do commercials for you. We're going to fight you on everything. But they wanted me to be back in sales. So they wanted me to come full circle, go back to something I didn't want to do, selling something that I didn't believe in, so that I could have this radio show and I could just be like, oh, thank you so much for giving me this little plot of land so that I could do all this other work for you. And you're going to take 90% and do absolutely nothing after taking 85%. And I left and I started the company, and literally, Derrell, built the company out of the air in front of my face. And I said to God, I was like, we're going to get in the trenches. We're going to do it. And like you said, that 70-20-10, it was like, I'm doing the stuff I don't want to do so I can do this thing I do want to do. But I found myself saying to myself, I don't want my life to be about all this stuff I don't believe in. I want to do 100% of doing what I love and loving what I do. And you don't make the money in the beginning. And the money was never my focus. Money's never my focus. And so I wanted to live my dreams. And I'll never forget, down in Florida before I moved up to Syracuse, Dominique Rhodes, who won a Super Bowl with Peyton Manning and the Colts, he was at the UFL team at the time, the Florida Tuskers. And he said to me, he goes, why are you worrying? And I'm looking at him, and he said, if you chase your dreams, the money will chase you. If you chase money, you'll chase it all your life. And I'll never forget that Dominique said that to me. And I was like, well, Dominique, I feel that way, but I feel like I'm a good person getting punished. And he said, man, just do that. She's like, just, you know what you're doing. Just keep doing it. Like, stop complaining and just do it. And now, like, you and I are sitting here on the phone saying 100% of the time we're doing what we love. We're loving what we do. The money has come, but we're enjoying it. And I talk to people all the time that hate their jobs, but they make good money. And I tell those people every single day, like, why live in a job where you're going to make a ton of money so you can go on an 8-day vacation to Bora Bora, and oh my God, I love Bora Bora, and it's so incredible. But for the other 350, 57 days of the year, you hate what you do. Where I feel like every day I'm working, I'm also on vacation. I don't know why people don't chase it, and I think it's fear. I think it's money. I think it's comfortability. I think it's settling. But I'd love for you to give a message to people out there about why you should take the leap.
Well, I think everything is hard. Like, I think that when you got a job, that's difficult. It has its pluses, it has its minuses. When you're in entrepreneurship, it's the same thing. Like, it's difficult, it has its pluses, it has its minuses. And so if you're willing to live with reality, the reality that, I mean, like, you ain't got much time here, and what you trying to do? Like, are you trying to do this? Are you trying to, grow old, die, and do that on behalf of somebody else? Like, dedicate most of your energy, time, attention, and love to something else? Or are you trying to do it for the things that you believe in and for doing what you want to do? And so for me, it's that simple. Like, I'm like with food, I love what I do. Like, I get to spread love through food. Like, I remember when I first started, I was feeding homeless. Like, the first set of meatballs that I didn't sell out, I literally went right to the homeless shelter and fed people. And I was like, damn, like, that's within my control. Like, I have that power. I've wanted to do this all my life, and now I have the power to do whatever I want. And it kind of sets in. Like, when you start to realize, like, all of this is on me, that could be fearful to a lot of people. But instead, like, I think that once you put yourself in those positions and you start to practice being a professional on your own terms, the more you practice at anything, the better you get. And so, I mean, everybody, like, I had that initial fear, too. Like, I was scared. Like, I got down on my knees and prayed when I was let go from my job. I called my mom, and I was like, look, I never failed at anything in my life, and this won't be different. And I knew that those words were true, but I just didn't know how I would do it. You know what I mean? And then along the way is God. Like, that's what it is. Like, it's a little thing inside your body, and it's a little voice inside your brain that, like, that tells you, like, you're doing the right thing. Like, keep going. And then it's moments within reality where it's just signs, where it's boom, like here's a check for you that validates your purpose and validates your effort. Because half the time you spend it running up steps. Like, that's what entrepreneurship is. Most of the time you just running up steps nonstop. And then every once in a while you get an elevator and you push that elevator and it elevates you a few floors, and that's the validation. It's like, damn, like that's what I'm getting. And then it's back to the steps. But you running in your own lane. It's your own race. It's not somebody else's race that you're running. And so, I mean, that's what I've taken out of it these past 6 years, like doing this full time. That is just, it's steps, but it's your steps. You ain't running up nobody else's steps. It's all up to you, but you can either run from that or you can embrace it and live the rest of your life doing what you're supposed to do versus doing what somebody else wants you to do.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And it's funny because people say, when they meet someone that owns their own business or owns their content, or, they're the person like yourself, myself, what do they say? Oh, must be easy, must be nice. And I got asked one time from somebody, they said, what keeps you from waking up every day, laying in bed, eating Cheerios, watching TV? And I said, I want to be successful. And they're like, well, you own your own business, you could do whatever you want. And I said, yeah, that's true, but what you do is going to affect what your life looks like. Yeah, I can do whatever I want, but I'm a tougher boss on myself than all my bosses combined were. I ask more of myself, my schedule is busier, and I'm doing more things. And people say, well, why would you do that? I said, because you have to determine what you want out of your life. Do you want to have a little bit of your dreams, all of your dreams? Or where do you want to be and what do you want to do and what is your vision for your life? People misconstrue somebody who is their own business or they're an entrepreneur or whatever. They misconstrue that with, well, you don't have to do anything. No, in a lot of cases, we have to do more because Derrell Smith is Derrell Smith's brand and Dan Tortora is Dan Tortora's brand. And when you put that name on the door, it's a different thing. And you're bringing it somewhere. And what you realize, Derrell, which I'm sure you have, is whether you're with, Amazeballs or Tastemade or 99 Eats, or you're in New York City, or you're in California, or you're in this contest, or you're doing this show, I think what you realize is whatever it is, you are the product. The product is you. How you cook, what you say, what you do, how you present yourself, your personality, you are the ticket. And so in that case, you're always connected to it. It's always a part of you. And when you are your own brand and you essentially are the product and the service, you realize that if you want something, you got to get after it. And there's a uniqueness to it and there's a dance to it that I think, I'm sure you've kind of realized that it's not your food. It's not the channel. It's literally you every single day. And what you say and what you do, and you literally embody everything that is your company. You become it. It's not you in a movie. It's not you in this. It's not you in that. It's Derrell Smith. And in that case, you realize that you're always with it, and it's always with you. And yeah, you have to find that relaxation and that peace. But when you are the product and the service, it's a very unique world. But it's a world where no matter where I go and who I work with, if I bring me every single time to it, I own the content, I own who I am, and people will follow me as I go somewhere and leave somewhere and evolve. And then you start to realize it's not about where you go and what you do. It's about the fact that wherever you go and whatever you're doing, you're bringing you to the table, and you get to have ownership of that, which is really special.
Absolutely. I mean, it's like mythology. Like, whenever you're creating something, I think of Zeus and Athena, where Athena, like, she was born from Zeus's head. Like, that's what creativity is to me. Like, it's a part of you that you create out of nothing, and it grows off of you. And then when it's ready to be put into the world, that's when you become the owner of it. That's when you become the master of it. But it just takes like so much time, so much energy to create something out of thin air that then becomes something that powerful. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, that's what I equate it to. When I think of 99 Eats, I think of that. Like, I think of me just growing this thing out the side of my head and then putting it into the world.
Yeah.
And then pumping all of my love and energy into it. And because of that, like, it's very much so connected to me. It's very much so always on my mind. So it seems like you might be on vacation sometimes, but it's literally a 24/7, 365, nonstop thing where it's just a part of you. Like, you can't get rid of it. And that's what it is, man. Like, it's that. Like, it's special. It's special because it ain't nobody else can do what you do the way you do it.
Yeah.
And when it's that intimate, and when it's that powerful to you, and it's that expression of yourself, like, you have no choice but to continue to just pump into it because you see it. You see yourself when you look at your company. You see yourself in the world.
Yeah.
And that to me is more powerful than anything. It's more powerful than money. It's more powerful than success, because all of those things will come with it if I just continue to nurture this thing that's coming off of me.
Yeah, and you said it perfectly. Derrell Smith, chef, entrepreneur, hanging out with me, Syracuse NFL alum, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. And before I let you go, there's a couple things that you brought up, and one of those things being, like you said, like, it's nobody can do it the way you do it. And what I realize in life, when I go back to, like I said, I probably could have sued people for slander and libel for things that were said out there. Those same people, ironically, and you're going to probably laugh when I say this, the people that tried to dog my company, delete my company, get rid of it before it even got started, copied it years later and tried to become it. And I said, and I say this all the time, and you just said it, I tell people all the time, I always liken it to a car. I said, you can steal my blueprint, you can build the car, but no matter what you do to build that car, it can look exactly like mine, but you'll never have the driver. And you said that. You said you are like what you do. It becomes a piece of you, and nobody can duplicate it, and you realize it's just you. So have you lived that? Have you seen that where people were kind of like, oh, Derrell, that's a sham, that's not real, or he's not doing this, or he's not a real businessman. Then you see somebody copying it, and you kind of just lean back. Maybe you got upset at first, but then you lean back and you laughed after the fact, and you said, man, they're trying to steal my blueprint, walk into Bed Bath & Beyond, do this the same way, but they don't have the key ingredient. They don't have that finishing touch. They can make whatever they want to make, but they don't have Derrell Smith. Do you feel that the way that I feel that?
Well, with me, I feel like I'm in my lane, and I'm so unique, and I'm sure you can attest to this too. That even if, like you said, if people, whatever they try to do, like that's their agenda. I'm not worried about them because I'm so focused on what I'm doing that I just got blinded. Like I really can't see it. But in those terms, I equate it to like a starter for bread dough. Like, that's the thing that gives things a special flavor, like a cast iron pan, like the seasoning that you put into it. Like a starter for a bread dough, your bread always gonna taste different because you've been aging this starter for so long that when you just dump a little teaspoon or tablespoon into your bread, it's gonna bake and taste differently than everybody else's. And so that's what it is. Like everybody, I mean, nothing's new, but the starter that I've been feeding all of these years, and the special essence and the special sauce that I put into my work and my professionalism, it ain't like nobody else's. You know what I mean? So, like, for me, it's just, I keep my blinders on. If people want to copy me, that's their prerogative, but nobody is me. And I'm 1,000% sure of that because I'm different, and I know that I'm different. And because of that, I walk with that confidence, and I walk with that majesty whenever I walk into any room, because I know that what I bring to the table is more valuable than somebody else because it's so different. And that's what it is. Like, I ain't worried about nobody else. I'm worried about what I'm trying to do and my goals.
Yeah.
And then if you try to copy it along the way, good luck, because it's impossible. You can't do what I do because you're not me. Because I practice being me, and I practice my professionalism to such a point that when I step on the field or when I step into anything, it's just different, and you see it. And that's what it is. That's why you hire me over somebody else, because I'm gonna get the job done, because I'm a professional.
Yeah. And you know what, man, I'm getting chills here in the studio because everything we're talking about today, like, I feel that. And I'm sitting here saying to myself, Derrell, like, we've talked over the years for a bunch of years now, but I got a question that's really just like top of mind for me right now more than anything else. If you and I are cut from this similar cloth and we feel the way that we feel, and I'm vibing with you 1,000,000% about everything you're saying, why have you and I not gotten into the same room recently? Like, when's Derrell and DT, when are we going to find our way to be in the same place and put something together, do something together? It just, just kind of even just sit and have a drink and have a conversation. If you're doing your thing and I'm doing my thing, and we're doing this thing that we understand and we really get each other, when are you and I going to get into the same room? Because I don't care if the world sees it or not. I think you and I got to spend some time together. Do we not?
Let's grab a drink, man. I'm down. I'm always down. Let me know.
Because I appreciate and I respect everything you do. Before I let you go, 2 final points, because I've had to kind of work this out over the years, because like you and I both agree, this is a part of us. It is us. And I just said this recently to somebody that I met a few days ago. I said, when you're running your own business and you're doing your own thing and you are the brand, wherever you go, it's you. So it never leaves you. How do you relax? What do you do for yourself? Because I've tried to really put that into my life and make sure I'm getting my rest and make sure I'm purposeful with my time, and I stay away from like energy suckers and drama and whatnot. So how do you take care of Derrell? What do you do to relax in your life?
Well, I do things that bring me joy and peace. And so I love to bike. And so I bike to the beach pretty often. I read a lot. I travel with my lady. And those are the things that bring me peace. And so I make sure that I do a lot of that, a whole lot of that, because like I said, if I'm always thinking about work in my mind, I want to make sure that I'm intentional about also thinking about my peace and practicing my peace. And that's what it is. Like I ride the bike, I read, I go to the gym, I work out, I make sure that even something like I don't really care to go to the gym that often, but I like the results of it, and I like how I feel after. And so it's some things that I force myself to do that are healthy for me. And then there are other things like riding my bike for hours in a day that I make sure I do as well, because those are the things that bring me peace. I sit by the ocean. And so for me, it's just like, it's those things. They're free. They are, they're natural. And yeah, like that's what I do. That's what I invest my time in. Like I invest my time in work, obviously. I'm to myself a lot. And so I make sure that I protect my energy, I protect my brand, and then I also make sure I protect my person. Like I do things that are healthy for myself. And if I'm not, I catch myself and I go back to that straight. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
that's what I do. That's my practice, man. Like, I make sure that I seek peace in all things that I do.
Well, like you said, we're only going around once. So it's great to do what you love, but you got to have peace. You got to take care of your temple. You go back to the car, right? You got to give it an oil change. You got to put gas in it. You got to check the engine. You got to make sure you have wiper fluid. You have to take care of yourself. And I tell people all the time, I'm like, we all freak out and plug our phones in daily, sometimes multiple times a day, because there's a lot of companies out there that make really incredible phones and terrible batteries, and I think that's on purpose. But they put, we plug our phone in saying we got to have our phone. We got to have our phone. It's got to be 100% charged. We need it all day long. But why don't we plug ourselves in? And I think about that all the time. Like, we plug the phone in, we plug the tablet in, we plug the laptop in, but a lot of us don't plug ourselves in. We don't recharge our own body. We don't take care of our own battery, and it blows my mind. So I love what you said, and I agree with it, because you need to go to the beach. You need to take, a ride. You need to take a walk. You need to find that peace, listen to music, lay back in the couch, just take a nap, hang out with the dog, hang out with, your significant other, and do your time and just be valuable with that time. Sometimes you turn on Netflix for a half an hour, watch a TV show, give yourself something to laugh about. So, final thing here, you did play at Syracuse, and that was a chapter of your life. The team has found a lot of success, bowl eligible in the first half of the season. How much do you pay attention to Syracuse on the West Coast, and do you have a message for the guys on the team right now?
Absolutely. I'm watching every week. We look good. I'm proud of us. I'm proud of the players. And I would say just keep doing what they're doing. Like, just keep getting better, keep practicing, and keep becoming a better team. And everything will play out the way it's supposed to play out. If you play the way that you're supposed to play, everything plays out the way it plays out. So, Godspeed to them. They look good. They firing on all cylinders. I mean, they had a tough loss, but it is what it is. You move past and you just keep going. So, I feel like they're in the right direction, and I'm proud of them. They look excellent right now.
When you see this, did they beat themselves more than Clemson beat them, in your opinion? I mean, they forced 4 turnovers on the defense. The defense, the mob, as they call themselves, has been really incredible this season. So when you look back on Clemson, do you say, wow, Clemson was the better team? Or do you look at this and say, Syracuse beat up on themselves with penalties and whatnot, and this team is the real deal? How do you see Syracuse right now?
I mean, they got a bump in the road. Like, that's what happens. Like, that don't make them any less successful. It put a blemish on the record, but they earned it. They earned that blemish, and hopefully they learn from it. And so it is what it is. They proved to themselves that they could play with one of the best teams in the country, and if that's what they were looking for, they proved it. And so now they just got to keep playing their game. Like, I think when you get in those games and you realize who you beat in the past, and then you might lose to somebody, all of it is just validation. Like, you know what you know. They know they're a good team. Like,
yeah.
They don't need a ranking to tell them they're a good team. They don't need any of those things. And so they hit a speed bump, and now it's time to learn from it and just move forward. Like, it ain't the end of the world. Whatever. You looked at the film, you saw what you could do better, and now you become a professional, and you do what you're supposed to do next game. And that's it. And if you don't, then you need to start questioning yourself. If you see what you're supposed to do and you know you're capable of greatness and you're not producing it, if you're not doing it in the next game, that's when you start to look at yourself and say, like, all right, maybe this is me, because I know I can play with everybody. So what I got to do to make myself better. But I think it is what it is. They're going to move on. They're going to keep doing what they're doing, and they're going to play their game. So I think they have a good game. Like, they know their game, and they're playing it. And the sky's the limit, because Clemson was not better than us. I mean, like, they won, but, yeah, they wasn't better than us. And I don't think many people are. So I think that losing to Clemson helped them realize that same thing. And, I mean, they got a long season ahead still. So it is what it is. Just keep firing and keep doing what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, coming from Derrell Smith. Derrell, would you like to be a part of this mob? When you hear them, by the way, when McKinley Williams said it, who was on the team last year, McKinley came on the show, came on a wake-up call here, and he yelled it. And it was scary, right? He was like, mob, like that. But when Michael Jones says it, it's even more terrifying, because he says it, which I can only liken, I'm Italian and Hispanic, I can only liken it to the Italian mob, because he looks right at you and he whispers it. He looks you right in the eye and he goes, "Mob," and it's terrifying. So I ask you the question here: would you like to be, if you could come back to Syracuse and you could play another season, would you like to be a linebacker in the mob of this 2022 team?
Absolutely. Why not? Yeah, absolutely.
That coming from Derrell Smith. Derrell, I appreciate it. Relly Crocker, you can check him out on all social media, 99 Eats, Amazeballs, everything he's done. Taste Made, obviously, like you said, on Netflix recently. Go and look up Derrell Smith. Support him and his dreams. He's out there chasing it, doing what he loves. One of the few people in the world that has faith over fear, and I love seeing it. So, Derrell Smith, as always, much appreciation, and I love having you on the show. We got to make sure we make something happen here in our travels, that we get in the same room. Would love to sit down and just even learn more about it and be around somebody who pushes me to be better, because that's what entrepreneurs and dream builders do. We push each other. So thank you, Derrell. I can't thank you enough. And I'm so happy that you're out there doing incredible things, and you've only been on the incline, and I hope that that continues for you for the rest of your life.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate that. Likewise. Thank you.
All right. I'll talk with you soon. All right. Stay safe and be well.
You too. Be well, man. Peace.
Take care. That coming from Derrell Smith here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. So much appreciation for Derrell being a part of the show. And really, I mean, I honestly, such a fantastic conversation with, a human being that just seems like and he's out there doing great things, and it moves me. And I hope it moves you, because it just puts me in a place, right? I know who I am, and I know what I'm going to do, and I know I don't need anybody but God to help me get after it, right? And then you get this bonus, right? You get somebody like Derrell Smith, and I'm like, he makes you want to fly across the country and just sit with him and have a drink with him, because I love seeing people do great things, and I love seeing people chase their dreams, and I love seeing people out there like me, like, that get it. There's certain people that just get it, and you want to be around those people that know, like, this is why you do what you do. Like, it's an unspoken thing with people that are dream builders. We just have a way about us, and there's something that we do, and people don't understand. We're never going to stop. You're never going to stop us, and we're always creating. We're always thinking, and we don't need you to tell us we're great, and we don't care if you tell us we suck, because we have this fire inside of us that is so strong. Speaking of fire here in the studio, but we have this fire inside of us that's this undying, unquenchable thing, and it's just going to keep getting bigger. And when you throw us into the fire, we laugh, because you don't understand that throwing us into the fire, bringing it back to what Derrell does, when you put the food on the flame and you're like, oh, the food's going to get burned. No, the food's going to cook. And that's what we do. We're constantly cooking. We're constantly growing and evolving. And I love it. I love the stories that we get to tell, including Derrell's and my own and yours. So thank you for the love, everybody, and thank you for tuning in today. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is here with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on YouTube.com, Facebook.com, and MixLR.com, all / Wake Up Call DT, and of course on WakeUpCallDT.com and Facebook.com / Live Now DT. If you haven't subscribed, liked, followed, all the good stuff, make sure you do it. It is free to do, and I did that for a reason, so that everybody could join us. So make sure that you join in wherever you are. Central and upstate New York, our second home of Florida, Pennsylvania, East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, all around the world. Make sure you find us. You can also get us on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, MixLR, Player FM, Podbean, Podvine, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, by searching Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. You can also ask Alexa and your Google Home device to play the latest episode of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and they'll do that for you as well, which is insane, and so crazy to have so many places pick us up and allow us the opportunity to share our like things I didn't even know about. And I don't live life with an ego, and when I say to Alexa, play the latest episode of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, it like gives me chills. I'm like, why am I that important? You know what I mean? And it just makes you feel good that that your stuff is out there and it's accessible, and it makes me want to make it more accessible and do more and put more money and more time into it to make sure that we really just keep reaching out to people. There's nobody I don't want to reach. Everybody needs a positive message. Everybody needs to laugh. Everybody needs to know they're not alone. And that's what this show's here for. It's why it's called Wake Up Call. It's why I do what I do. If I can help one person one time my entire life, then I did what I needed to do. I don't need 1 million viewers. I don't need a billion clicks. I don't need everybody to fill every seat in a stadium. I'd like it, but I don't need it. Because at the end of the day, going up to heaven, your currency is your soul. And what you do with it and how you treat people and how you talk about people, that's what you have. And if I can say to God, hey, help somebody, then that's a good thing. And we've done that. And I know that we've done that. And I'm grateful for that. You know, I mean, Shamarko Thomas, speaking of Syracuse football alum, Shamarko came on the show. I love Shamarko. And I've been a big fan of Shamarko for a really long time. And I tried for like 1.5 years to get in touch with Shamarko after he left Syracuse. And he came on the show a couple weeks ago, and he said, bro, you don't know this, but you saved my life. And some people would say, okay, Dan, well, then you did it, right? You helped somebody. And I said, that just makes me want to save another life. It makes me want to do something else. And there's people that have saved my life. So it just brings tears to my eyes, and it makes me really happy, and it makes me feel like we're getting there, right? We're getting there. And I'm always going to be doing it. I'm going to be 90 years old saying, like, let's do a stand-up comedy show. Let me write another movie. Let me get out there and do this. Let me act. Let me sing. Let me do another show. I think it can inspire somebody today. When you have the fire, you have the fire, and the flame is unquenchable. And that's just the truth. And, you know, all the companies that we have the blessing of working with, I believe that they see that in me. I hope that they do. And I love our partnerships, and I hope that we only grow them, and a lot of them we have. Cafe Kubal, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Witty Wicks, PB&J's Lunchbox, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Avicoli's, Mon Paws, Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, Canine Kampground Dog Boarding, Pizza Man, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Honda City of Liverpool, Chick-fil-A Watertown, Mother's Cupboard, and we are proud to be the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of yours. Lemoyne College Dolphins. It is Fins Up every single month here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. The Dolphins join us in Dolphin Time every single Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, and on the first and third Wednesday of each month with AD and DT featuring Athletics Director Bob Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora. Every second and fourth Wednesday, the Dolphin Dive features student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. To get all of our Dolphin content, go to the Lemoyne tab on wakeupcalldt.com. You can also join us by subscribing on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. And for more information on your Dolphins, go to LemoyneDolphins.com. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are also exclusive multimedia marketing partners here with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We've gotten to tell a lot of stories, including about their PTA program, their physical therapist assistant. Definitely want to check that out. You can get your degree in 2 years or less right there on James Street in Syracuse at Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse. A lot of people are needed in the healthcare industry, and they have a 100% job placement coming out of Bryan and Stratton of Syracuse for the PTA program. So make sure you call today and get yourself involved in it if you're looking to change careers, if you've always wanted to be a part of the be in physical therapy and whatnot. If it's something you've been interested in or something that you may be interested in or you want to take a shot, or like I said, you're looking to change careers and you just want to see what's out there, call 315-472-6603. That's 315-472-6603. And Bryan and Stratton, all of our content on the BSC Syracuse tab on wakeupcalldt.com. You can also subscribe to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. And for more information on your Bobcats, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I want to thank you for being a part of the show. Big thanks to Carvel DeWitt for the annoying moment of the week. to Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay for lead. Today, focusing on being open to new opportunities, as I have been, and including this week is no substitute. And top dog of the week, Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding, and honoring Merritt, Catherine, and Owen Brady for opening and being the newest owner-operators of a Chick-fil-A, and here in our North Country at Chick-fil-A Watertown on 1290 Arsenal Street, right off the highway as you come into Watertown. And a big thanks to chef and entrepreneur chasing his dreams and catching them and chasing new ones, that being Derrell Smith, Syracuse and NFL alum. Speaking of chasing dreams and catching them, he knows all about it as a former linebacker, chasing after those running backs, wide receivers, and quarterback on the field. And I love how he likened it back to his practices of being able to ad-lib and be ready for anything, which has helped him in his life to do the same. So God bless to Derrell and Godspeed on his dreams coming to fruition and him having more than he could have ever asked for. And I hope the same thing for all of you. Find us on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. From now, from the Cafe Cubal Studios, smelling good with our Witty Wicks candles, 190 Township Boulevard in Camillus, New York, right in front of Movie Tavern. Make your way out to Witty Wicks today. Get their awesome flavors, including autumn incuse. They smell incredible. And they have these little beauties. And like I said, I feel like I need to give one of these away. We've given one away before. This is a Cuse, all the seasons in one wonderful little gift bag here. Spring, summer, autumn, and winter in Cuse. They all smell different, and they all capture the essence of Syracuse and upstate New York. So you definitely want to go pick those up while supplies last and get out to Witty Wicks today and support local. I appreciate y'all. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. A lot of great stuff coming up. Sellout crowd at the Dome. Isaac and I will be there for Tortora and Alfred. We'll see you out at the Dome this Saturday, October 29th, when Notre Dame comes here for the first time in what feels like a billion years. And a sellout crowd is going to be there. 49,705 was the sellout crowd for NC State. I hope we have 706 or more. I hope we up the ante, right? Wake up call and everything I do in my dreams, always on the incline. By the grace of God, hard work, dedication, and determination. I always want to progress up and always want to grow. And I hope that we get to do that by growing our crowd here this weekend. And a lot of great stuff coming up. I'm celebrating my niece's birthday, Ariana. She's going to be 3 on November 2nd. We're having a little party on Sunday. Can't wait to see Ari. So much love to Ari. And I look forward to talking with you all soon. Keep with us on social media because that's where you're going to find everything. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And as we always leave you here on everything we do, God bless, no stress, do your best. And shout out to Mary, who's joining us from Indianapolis. Big shout out to Indianapolis and the great state of Indiana. God bless you all. I look forward to talking with you soon. And have a great, great weekend. And just be good to each other and be good to yourself.